What's going on, guys? My name is Jaice, also known as Virgin, and welcome back to my channel. And today we're doing something that's not all too gaming related in the fact that we're learning Java, but it's also very gaming related in the sense that we're learning Bukkit coding. So welcome to episode 1 of Bukkit 101. So there are some prerequisites that you're going to need before you can get started developing with me, and those are 1, 2, 3, 4 things. So for number 1, you're going to need to understand a few lines of Java. Now, I am going to go over line by line, so if you are confused, you can just follow along. You don't have to worry about going to any other tutorials, but that is pretty much a recommended prerequisite. As well, you're going to need Graph Bukkit. You're going to need access to the jar file for when you're adding in your external jars from your Eclipse workspace. That brings us to number 2. You're going to need an Eclipse IDE. This is what I work with, and this is what you'll be seeing me working with, so I highly recommend you get this. If not, you can go ahead and rock out with IntelliJ IDEA or NetBeans 7.4, but those are a bit more confusing in my opinion. And you're also going to need the knowledge of setting up a Graph Bukkit server on your own. There are millions of videos, not literally millions, but you know and understand what I'm trying to say, on YouTube where you can find out how to do this. So, first things first, you're going to go ahead and open up Eclipse for the first time, and it's going to prompt you with a window to choose your workspace. Now, make sure you choose a folder that is very easy to access for you. Like for me, I have mine for my workspace is under coding. So it'll create this here, your metadata, and then this is where all your files will be saved for whatever you're coding on. Then we're going to go ahead and dive right into our first plugin, and that's going to be our test plugin. As you can see, I made an attempt at this before, but don't even worry about that. So to do so, hold on, we're going to go ahead and right-click New Java Project. Now you can do this by right-clicking on your Package Explorer, and we're going to make this package called Test for Tube, just because it's a test for YouTube, and I want to be able to keep myself organized. Next thing you want to do is within your source folder, source folder, create a new package, and your package name has to be unique. So this is the format that I recommend. So we're going to do me.yourname, which my name is actually Jaice, but my in-game name for Minecraft is Ralphus, as well as my Bukkit form name. And then we're going to do test for, all lowercase, test for tube. Now keep in mind you can't have capitals, but it's just not recommended. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to make a class in here, and we're just going to call this one test, because, you know, that's not really all that important, besides when you're calling it in the plugin.yml. Then what you want to do is right-click on the folder that you created in the first place, go to Properties, Java Build Path, Libraries, Add External Jars, navigate to the server you're going to be using, or any other location of craftbukkit.jar. So mine is located here, server 1. Double-click on the craftbukkit.jar that you downloaded in the beginning and click OK. Now that's going to go ahead and add the reference library for craftbukkit.jar, which will allow you to call all of these different API elements and whatnot like that. So now what you're going to want to go ahead and do is within your test.java, what I recommend whenever you're making a Bukkit plugin, you just start off like this, extends Java plugin. Now, Java plugin is not recognized by Java. It is a Bukkit API element. So what you want to do is, if you're using Eclipse only, Control-Shift-O, which will automatically organize your imports and import anything you need for this Java class to run properly. Then we're going to go ahead and make 2 methods, but we're only going to use one. I'm just showing the other one for demonstration. So we're going to do public void on enable and public void on disable. I apologize if my keyboard's so loud. It is very close proximity-wise to the mic, but you guys are going to get used to that, and you're going to start loving that noise when you code. In fact, I love listening to it myself. So public void on enable is what Bukkit will use whenever the plugin is enabled. So we can do something like bukkit.getServer.getLogger.info, and we're going to say test for tube enabled, and this will send a message to the console. So it's doing Bukkit, which is automatically imported here. If it was not, you can go ahead and hover over it and click import, or you can type in Control-Shift-O. So you get Bukkit, then we're getting the server. We're calling Bukkit to get the server. Then we're getting the logger, and then we're doing info, which is sending it to the console. Now on disable is not really necessary. I don't really understand why this method is even here. I just wanted to show you that there are some plugins that will take advantage of that eventually. Or you can say test for tube disabled, whatever you want to do. Next thing we're going to need is commands. Now, to register commands, there's this long command string that I honestly can't really explain other than the fact that it gives different command slash methods aliases. So what it is it's public boolean on command, command sender, command cmd, string command label, string with a little array list, bar, and then args. And this is going to be where we register all our commands. Now, as you can see, there's some red lines here. If we hit Control-Shift-O, and make sure you import command.command, not material.command, and click Finish. And then we'll get our little red line here, and we can just go ahead and leave that. For now, that's not too important. It's just because we defined a boolean and not a return statement. Then what we're going to do is we're going to do enter, and we're going to come up here, and we're going to say if command, which is what we defined up here as commands up here, command cmd. So cmd dot get name, so get the name of the command, and it equals ignore case, and we're gonna say test. So if they were to type in something like /test, if the command equals /test, then it will do whatever is in this. So what we're going to say is we're going to do sender. Actually, we're going to do this so that we can, this will just help us in a minute. I'll explain it. So go ahead and above this, make sure it's before the if statement. We're going to say player, which is a Bukkit API, P. We're going to defining it as P so we don't have to type out player every single time. And we're going to say is equal to player sender, and that's it. Then you just want to import player, and we're good there. So now when we're down here, we can do p dot send message, which will send a message to the player, and we'll say test works, you're ready to code more. Boom. And the reason we defined it as P is because I could end the tutorial here, show you how to set up a plugin YAML, and then just run the server. Or what I can do is go and do, so if it is not in, how do I do this? Instance of player, then we're going to do this. So syntax error token, delete this token. So if we're saying if, sender instance of player. So we're saying if the sender of the command is not the instance of player and not as defined by this exclamation point, then we're going to do this. We're going to say sender, because it's not a player, dot send message, this command is for players only, exclamation point. And under here, you just want to go ahead and add your, or under here, you're going to add your return statement to end the code there. And under here, we're going to add our return statement. And as well, under here, I think that's, yeah, okay. So return statements basically just stop the code, so it's saying if it is not a player, you're going to send that whatever it was a message, usually the console, and then we're going to stop the code. So now that we have that defined, we're done our class, we can right click on our source folder, go to new file, and we're going to make the plugin.yml. Now keep in mind YML or YAML formatting does not accept spaces, so I have my tab formatted to 4 spaces instead. There's an option somewhere within the Eclipse platform, but I'm not really sure. So what we're going to do is we're going to write the name of our plugin, which is test42, our version, which is 1.0, our main, which is our main file. So we're going to define the package me.ralphus.test42.test. So it's our package and then our file. Then what we're going to do is define our description, which is going to be test plugin for YouTubes. Then what we want to do is define our commands, which is mandatory. So we're going to say commands, write out our command test usage, which is going to be /command, which is usually for everything, and then description, which is going to be test command for checking if we are amazing! Exclamation point. Go ahead and save both of those. Then what we can do is right click on our folder here, go to export, go to a jar file in the Java folder here. Next, browse for your server folder, which mine is on the desktop under server 1, and then plugins, and we're going to export it as test. So we have test.jar, and you click finish. So that is now exported, and we can go ahead and run our server to check if things went perfect. So what we did was we just ran our craft bucket run.bat. Remember, if you don't know how to set it up, then go ahead and take a look. So as you can see, test for tube, enabling test for tube version 1.0, test for tube enabled. Now, without the on enable bucket.getServer.getLogger.info.send a message, whatever it was, then it will just say test for tube, enabling test for tube version 1.0. So that can just like seem like it's doing something and people won't understand. So I'm actually going to go ahead and open up our Minecraft client. Now keep in mind, audio is going to stop here, but I'm just going to go ahead and run through the commands real quick and you'll see what's going on.